You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 91 of Teach Better Talk. I'm Ray Heward, but you already knew that. And I am with the very handsome and lively Jeff Gargis.
I like that you threw the handsome in there. Thanks, Ray.
I did. I threw in handsome because I was trying to just be nice to you a bit. We recorded a bunch of podcasts today, and I'm nervous that you're getting sick of me. But the lively was an addition from our amazing guest that we have on the podcast this week.
Yes, which is really cool because if you know Amanda, she does a lot of cool stuff recently with like zombie themes and stuff. So she used Lively to connect it to it, which I thought was brilliant and
I don't
funny
think
and really
you
cool.
can't say Amanda's doing cool things. She's exceeding what the word cool means.
Yeah, I think she's redefined and setting that bar a little bit higher. So
Yeah, there's some other word to describe Amanda, and I don't even have it in my vocabulary.
So I actually wanted to. I love that you said it because I wanted to go sort of in that direction because something that I really like about Amanda Fox is that she does some really cool stuff like that and some really neat things with technology and different just things that you look at and you go, oh, you go, wow, that's really cool. And I've always had this thing, and I know you share this with me, is that a lot of times when you see really cool things, that doesn't necessarily mean there's a lot of really great learning going on because it's not necessarily connected. There's not necessarily a whole lot of substance to what they're doing, and it becomes what we call fluff. And anyone who knows you always talk about fluff ain't enough. So the awesome thing about Amanda is that it can be termed fluffy, quote unquote, just because it looks awesome, but it's not fluffy in the negative term because it's really rooted in best practices, very connected to what actually needs to be taught to the students. There's substance there, there's foundation there, and it's really connected. It's just super engaging and really creative. Both of her books are super creative and connected and really cool. We had a blast talking about, but I wanted to throw it your way because I know this is a big thing for you, and I know you were feeling that too when we were talking to Amanda. So like, I'm gonna do one of these things where I go, hey Ray, can you just like rant for a minute on like purposeful tech integration, because that's just one piece of one of the things that Amanda does really well. But can you talk about that? We had a course that came out that talked about it, but can you kind of maybe touch on the course, just kind of give me your thoughts on this purposeful tech integration, not just being tech for tech's sake.
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm still blown away, and I have no words from Amanda from this podcast episode. All right, fine. No, I mean, Tiffany Ott is my go-to tech girl because obviously she's on speed dial, so it's easy to get connected to her because she's part of the Teach Better team, and she always picks up my phone calls. But her whole mentality of purposeful tech integration was not just something I believed in, but Tiffany helped me figure out how to do it. And I think that as we grow our professional learning networks, we all need to find our people. And sometimes I really hope that like I'm the right person to help people. But the reality is that the best part of building a network is to kind of go to the experts for the specific things that you're looking for. And while I love technology, I wouldn't consider myself a tech expert. I just love knowing people that I do consider tech experts. So when Tiffany built the course that released in July about purposeful tech integration, I was not only excited to obviously have a new course to share with our amazing family, but also to take it myself. I mean, I went through her courses, her modules to really freshen my own mind and how I was going to purposefully incorporate tech in my classroom. And with our PD, we do, I mean, a lot of the technology that I use to solve a problem. And this is actually what beautifully echoed in this podcast recording was you need to make sure that the technology you're working towards, it might solve a problem that you're having, but it really should be focused on solving a problem that your students are having. So you're kind of looking at this idea of technology as a way to create, as a way to go into a deeper learning experience. It can't just be because you listened to a great podcast, you heard about a tech tool, and so you wanted to try it out. Like that is not purposeful tech integration. It is a great opportunity for you to play around. It's good exploration. You could sit with your colleagues sometime and dive into other tech tools. But when you have students and you're working towards mastering standards, you need to make sure that what you bring into your classroom is for the betterment of the learning experience, not just for the fun of trying something different, I guess, if that makes sense. So what I love about Amanda and what I love about Tiffany's course and kind of all of these tech experts that I hold so near and dear to my heart was this idea of the fact that technology can be extremely purposefully implemented into any lesson if you really focus on the students and ensuring that it's deepening their experience. So I not only got that from Tiffany's course, which, by the way, you should all go take because it was a great refresher for me as I'm getting into planning my classroom this fall, but I think Amanda echoed so many of those necessities in this podcast recording, which, like I said, she left me speechless with so many things that she's doing. I cannot wait to re-listen to her stories because I need to sit back in a chair and just take it all in again because once was definitely not enough.
So let's talk about that for a second. You just touched on, I don't know if I need to talk too much about the episode because you just I think you just got everyone super excited about it. So just real quick, if you don't already know Amanda Fox, she's the creative director at Fox Bright LLC. She's also that you might know her book Teach in Land, and Zombie, a Creative Thinker, which is an awesome book. But she's taught English language arts, social studies, film, journalism, and she currently leads the STEAM programs via a startup that she created, her startup, Steampunks EDU, which is in Kentucky. She was the 2016 recipient of ISTE Emerging Leader Award. She's been recognized as a PBS Digital Innovator, and she's also served as a president of the Young Educator Network for ISTE, and also received the President's Volunteer Award. She is ridiculously creative. Both of her books are just really, really cool, super creative, but again, just like what we're talking about, the way she uses tech, it's the same way she wrote her books. They're super creative and fun, but they're also really, really purposeful and super valuable, and there's a lot of value in them. So this was a great episode. Great stuff. Ray already touched on some of the amazing things that we're going to talk about, so I'm not even going to mess around anymore. Let's just get right into episode 91 with Amanda Fox.
Hey everyone, we so appreciate having you listening here with us. If you enjoy the show as much as Jeff and I enjoy amplifying these educator stories, I'd really like to encourage you to leave a rating and review. It takes about 3 minutes. Just click your star rating. I personally am a fan of that 5-star review, and then share a comment about what you enjoy most about our podcast. To be honest, this just allows us to reach more listeners and further share these amazing educators' message. All right, let's get to the episode.
All right, we're here and we're chatting with Amanda Fox. And Amanda, it's awesome to have you on. We know you were literally on vacation, but you're still tuning in with us, and that means the world to us that you took some time out and did what you had to do to come on and chat with us. We know you just got back from a crazy week at ISTE. Now you're trying to relax a little bit, but here you are on Teach Better Talk, so it means the world to us. So how are you feeling right now?
I am recharging, and it feels great to come on and talk to you guys. Big fan. So I'm honored and humbled that you would have me on. So thank you.
Amanda, I have followed you for a long time, but for our listeners who may not know your entire backstory, would you mind answering kind of a typical question we ask of just how to describe yourself, answering that question of what you do, which I know is so hard because you do a lot of things.
Yeah. So typically when people ask me what I do, I pause because I'm an educator, I'm a mom, I'm a businesswoman or edupreneur because I have Steampunks EDU in Kentucky, and most recently an author, so a published one at that. So lately, when I get asked that, I just respond with the fact that I'm a dreamer who's been lucky enough to see some of my dreams come to fruition. So that's what I say. Oh, I'm just a dreamer, and then then we can kind of go into facets of what I actually do. And yeah, so
I'm gonna start answering that way now too, Ray. I like
I think
that.
you should.
I'm stealing it.
I'm a dreamer.
Also
a podcaster myself. So
yeah, what's your podcast? Let's go to plug.
The virtual reality podcast.
Yes.
So we're in season 2. We've got about 30 something episodes out there.
Nice. And there's a few of you that co-host, correct?
Yes, James
Yes.
McCrary, Alex
James, that's
Chaucer, and Steven Sato. They're freaking
Yeah.
awesome. We're team high four, not quite high five. We're looking for that fifth member.
Love it. Awesome. So let's talk about this. So we touched on all the things that you do, and you're an author, podcaster, educator, businesswoman. You do a lot of speaking. I know we're all over the place at ISTE, all these things. So I gotta assume there's some stories here, some challenges along the way. So we talk on this podcast a lot about failure. So I'm hoping that you'll share a story with us. By the time you've had a failure, had a challenge that you had to overcome, tell us what happened. How did you overcome it? And then what'd you take away from that experience?
So I have a big failure for you, like not just a failure and something I set out to do, but like a monetary failure. So yeah, I'm about to tell you all about it. So I have Steampunks EDU in Kentucky, and I moved to Kentucky in 2016. I was teaching in Savannah, Georgia at the STEM Academy, teaching digital media and film. It was my dream job. Had to relocate. So I kind of got voluntold by the PTA of my kid's school, well, you should run after school programs. And I was like, okay. And they're like, oh, you can charge for them. You can actually, you can teach classes and people will pay you to teach them. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to teach video game design and stop motion animation. And they sold out. Like they were packed. I had to turn kids away. And pretty soon it caught on to other schools. My profit margins were fantastic. I would go to the schools in the local area, teach an after school class for an hour, and that was it. Pretty soon I had 4 days a week, and expanded to 12 schools within a year. And I actually had to hire more people. And one of the things that I didn't like was toting my tech back and forth. So all the profits I'm making, I'm dumping it back in to, iPads, Mac Airs, and all this technology, but having to tote that back and forth and getting into immersive technologies, I got a Rift, and it's a pain to set up. Like it's almost impossible to teach that in an hour. So I decided it would be great to have my own brick and mortar building, like a physical makerspace. So I had an immersive tech lab, I had a Verzoom bike, an Oculus Rift, structure scanners, like we're scanning, we're doing augmented virtuality, I guess is what that would be called. And I started this brick and mortar makerspace with the idea of hosting an after school program, like a after school care would come over, and I approached it completely wrong. So I was solving the wrong problem. I was solving my problem, which is I didn't like tech. It had nothing to do with my clients or my students or the parents or why they were coming to me, which was an on-site program. So it completely tanked. I had signed a lease and everything. I went from making decent money and reinvesting it into this physical site to losing everything pretty fast. So what I learned from that is to really think about the problems you're solving. Are you solving something for yourself, or are you solving something that's going to make sense to the community that you're trying to build something in? And the market was telling me that this was the wrong decision. I didn't make the right decision. It wasn't for a physical makerspace that was the need. It was for the quality experiences that my team was bringing into the schools. Mm-hmm. So my advice with failure is maybe you go back to what works before you failed, and also don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Yeah. So Steampunks wasn't failing. It was at that point I needed to recalibrate and go back to what worked before I forked into that failure. So it was just like starting back to basics and not looking at it as a defeat, but just, Google Maps, you take a wrong direction, it recalibrates, you go back to where, you're back on the right path. So.
Yeah, I love it. So it's not a defeat. It's just listening to your audience again, which is what you did when you started, right? They were telling you they wanted you to come to the school, and then you flipped it. It's funny that you were talking about you solved your problem, not your audience, and you could flip that to the classroom of solving a problem for yourself versus focusing on a student-centered practice or a student-centered classroom where you're solving problems for your kids instead. So that's exactly. I see these crossovers all the time between business and education. It's crazy how often, which I'm sure you've seen as well. So I love that went right into that. So.
Exactly. So if you have an ed tech tool that you're using that helps you manage your workflow, but it's not good for your kids, then you should probably ditch it.
Yeah, exactly. It's spot on. So probably not quite as expensive as the of building you have, but still
Oh,
good.
yeah. That was an expensive lesson.
I've had a few of those.
Yeah, and also, like, so I've published 2 books, one in June or one in May and one in June. I just submitted a proposal for another one, and it got declined, but it's not gonna stop me from writing or submitting future pitches either, so, I mean, you get 1 or 2 breaks, but it doesn't ensure future successes.
Mm-hmm.
So
you brought it up, so let's talk about that now, because I was going to anyway. So you have 2 books out, and you released them really close together, which is crazy in my mind. But very different books, I believe.
yes.
So
well, they're different, but they're
actually connected.
Together.
Yeah. Actually, as I said, I'm like, no, they actually go together really well. So tell us about them. Tell us the title of each one and sort of what we can expect, who they're for.
So, Teaching Land, A Teacher's Survival Guide to the Classroom Apocalypse, was written with my co-author, Mary Ellen Weeks. And it's funny because it started out as a potential ISTE book, and it ended up being a DBC book. I won't go into all of that, but so it's a zombie-themed educational survival guide, and we talk about a virus of over testing, and it's teacher accountability that has started with these educational policies. So really, the battlefield has been the educational policy and the government pressures, I guess, or testing pressures that have come from policy. And basically, our solution is, we're teachers, we close our doors. We're going to do what's best for our kids, which is learning through play, experience, and hands-on making. And whether we talk about classroom, we talk about everything. We talk about classroom management, archetypes, land of the living, and each chapter has some sort of metaphor that's streamed through. Like iZombie, the chapter's personalized learning. Like in iZombie, I don't know if you are you a fan of zombies?
I am a fan of iZombie, actually, too, the show.
Yeah, so I'm also by an airbase. That's a helicopter.
Hello, vacation. You got a dog back there. You got all kinds of savannah.
They're dropping in supplies for the classroom apocalypse.
It's all part of the book. Very immersive.
I just got a delivery of duct tape, Post-it notes, and maker. Yeah, no. So with iZombie, the metaphor for that is like you've got live more, and the puns are deadly. So you've got live more and fill more graves, which is a company. But the way she kind of helps solve problems is she's riddled with this new like undead way of living.
Yeah.
She eats the brains of victims, and she helps solve their how they found themselves in the morgue.
Yeah.
So my point is that personalized learning, we kind of need to probe the brains of our students and figure out who they are, build relationships with them, and let that be the starting foundations for how we help them and how we build materials and curriculum that get them where they need to be, which is going to look different in any classroom. There's no one size fit all. So that's just an example. And then the Warm Bodies chapter is actually stories from kids about activities that have brought learning back to life for them. So
quick legal disclaimer: we are not in any way advocating that you eat your students' brains. That is not what we're doing here. I just need to make sure we get that out of the way.
We're like getting into their brains, figuring out their interest, and
I love it.
Exactly how we can use who they are to inform our instruction.
All right, so tell us about the other book, the second book here.
Okay, the other one's called Zombie, a Design Thinker. And there's Zip the Zombie, who is this cute little zombie protagonist who is trying to change this zombie narrative. He doesn't want to be the world problem. He wants to help students solve them through human-centered design. So as you go through the book, it's a picture book. Zip takes them through a trip through the modes of design thinking, and he has this empathy machine. And as students report back to them on the problems that they're solving, they define the problem, they ideate, make prototypes, test, then he slowly becomes more and more human because empathy is the antidote. So
how cute is that?
It's super cute. And he was all over ISTE. and
He
pictures and
did.
stuff.
So so I have a little plushie of Zip, and Zip he had his own seat on the plane. That was happenstance. I didn't pay for his flight. So
Are you selling those yet?
Not yet. So
Okay.
this was kind of a testing of the market, and sure enough, like I posted him flying to Philly, and I had people looking for me to take selfies with Zip. So
All right.
Absolutely.
So are you going to make some?
I am, and actually
All
I
right.
have a 30-inch plush being made for future selfie
I saw that.
opportunities.
So can we teach better talk? Can we purchase one of your zips and give it away to someone that's listening right now?
Absolutely.
Wait, can we purchase 2 and Ray gets one too?
Yes.
All right, Amanda,
everyone should have their own.
We're gonna need to purchase 3.
And I don't know if you noticed, but he's 2-sided. So on one side, he's a little zombie, and as you read through the book, there's also a music video that I have the song already done. The video is being done now, but it's like a little hot potato game. After they've done a design challenge, you toss the zip, you stop it at each mode, and students share their part, like what they've worked on that part of the mode. Like, this is why I empathize with this problem, and this is who we're helping.
So then he turns less zombie. Is that what it is?
Yep. So at the end,
I didn't notice that.
At the end of the book, as the empathy machine that is off the charts, like it's just registering like high levels of empathy in the classroom. You ask a couple of questions, like a little formative on the process, and magically he's transformed into a real boy because empathy transforms us from the inside out.
Well, isn't that a sweet touch?
Amanda, this is why I like recording podcasts. I have learned so much in the past 15 minutes. Like, holy cow.
All right, so now we got so Amanda, you get to control this.
Oh,
so
Lord.
what we're going to if you listening would like a free zip, we're going to give away one, but you got to do something to get it. So you got to tweet out at us. Well, let's do that. Amanda, what's your preferred social media platform? Twitter, Instagram, where should we go?
At Twitter, so I'm at Amanda Fox STEM, or Zip has his own Twitter page. He's actually tweeting out design thinkers every day, lesson plans, and he's releasing a design challenge each month with a video activator.
All right, so we have your handle. What's his handle?
At Zip_B_zombie. ZOMBE, because he's a zombie.
I love it. So we gotta make sure we tweet out both of that. Use the hashtag Teach Better, and then is there a hashtag we should add as well?
Hashtag is ZOMBDT, like zombie DT.
And I'm just gonna tell them, like, what you need to do is basically use your limited characters on Twitter to explain to Amanda why you should get the free one that we're gonna send you. So.
And share a design challenge you implement in your class. That would
be boom, that's it. You don't get to tell us why, you have to share the design challenge. There you go. I love it. That's the challenge to you to win your free zip. Loving it. All right. I'm done with crazy zip ideas now. I'm gonna give too many away.
I just have to say, I am so enthralled by this podcast. I'm like distracted needing to ask you questions because I just want to sit here and sit back in my chair and like sip my coffee and like take this all in. I cannot wait to continue learning from you. I think that a lot of education is learning from each other. I mean, that's truly where I get most of my professional development, is learning from my PLN, my professional learning network. And so when I'm thinking about this next question, I was going to ask you about what gets you excited about education. I won't lie to you. You are getting me excited about education right now, but what's keeping you motivated? What's like fueling your fire?
So I'm a tech evangelist. I know that term is probably overused, but my company tagline for Steampunks was education with edge. Because one of the things I like to do is take newfangled technology that hasn't quite made it mainstream or into, main educational practice, and rooting it in pedagogy and figuring out the best teaching strategies that go with it. And then going off and offering PD. Oh, it's another shipment. It's more supplies. So I guess for me, AR, VR, they're hot buzzwords. They have been for the last couple years, but I'm super excited about AR, VR, and education. So both of the books that I've written have used AR in pedagogically rooted sound ways. Like it's like as a hook or as a coach or as a formative assessment. For example, Both books are loaded with metaverse and artivibe. So metaverse, at the end of each chapter in Teaching Land, we actually offer a formative assessment where you scan it and you can apply what you just read and earn digital badges in the inventory. So for me, it's seeing that AR, VR getting outside of the fad and the wow factor and actually being used and integrated in ways that benefit not just our teachers, but also get students creating. So for me, AR and VR creation, hands down.
Amanda, I really want to be you when I grow up. Like, how can I? That is so, like, I'm blown away by this idea of purpose and relevancy and using, I mean, Jeff, she's like the epitome of no more fluff. Like, fluff ain't enough. Like, I'm so enthralled with.
The only fluff you will find is the plush zip. He's a little fluff.
Yeah, well, that's a good little piece of fluff. So if I'm listening and I'm just blown away by you, I want to know what type of advice teachers need to even just begin on the journey that you're on. You're seemingly so knowledgeable. You have amazing books, and obviously we're going to all go to Amazon and grab those. That's a given. But when it comes to a teacher that's inspired by what you're working on, what type of advice do they need to kind of get on the right path and bring this to their students?
It comes down, for me, it's come down to relationships. When I first started teaching, I didn't understand the power of a PLN because I didn't know what a PLN was. It's not something that in my college prep program, they're like, oh, you need to go find like-minded educators, build a network, and get on Twitter. I'm not going to tell you what year that was, but it was really limiting sometimes to close your door. Like when I taught film, I was the island. There was not another film expert in the building. It was me. And it was hard. So by going out on Twitter, and I found Don Goebel, I found Michael Hernandez, and these people had been doing this for a while, and not just doing it for a while, like winning awards, and they were global voices and leaders in that field. And to be able to send a DM and then to be welcomed back with advice and amazing new tools and strategies and ways to teach better, that for me was the most powerful thing. So build a PLN. Also, my survival guide is meant for new teachers. So I there's 67,000 words there. I know that's not one thing, but 67,000 words of sound advice that Mary Ellen and I have kind of taken from our experiences, but also have highlighted multiple perspectives of other educators. We have tales from educators all over the world at the end of each chapter. There's one or two that kind of take the message from the chapter and discuss it and what it was like in their first years and how they overcame their struggles. So,
Jeff, I don't even think we should do the 6 questions in 15 seconds. Like, let's just send her the trophy. She's going to kill it anyway. Like, it's not even worth like pretending that she may not do well.
Well, let's put it to the test anyway, just to be
Lord.
safe. We're gonna up the challenge for Amanda just a little bit higher here.
5 seconds.
She's no. That might be. I don't know. That could be fun. We're gonna do the next 6 questions. You got to answer each one in 15 seconds or less, and you're not allowed to have a plane fly in the background during any of these.
I don't know. The shipments are coming in like
call
every 10 minutes.
Call off the supply drops.
All right.
Let's just get into it. What is this one? Actually, might be the hardest one. What is one ed tech tool you cannot live without?
Google Suites.
Ooh, quick and easy. Give us a book you're reading right now.
Educated by Design by Michael Cohen. It's amazing. It's all about design thinking as well. Sorry, 15 seconds. My kids are also reading One Drop of Kindness by Jeff Kubiak for their summer
Kubiak.
Reading, so. Yes.
Who do we need to follow on Twitter today?
Game Boy Drew. He's an up and coming young educator. And then if you follow Sarah, the teacher, and Dave Burgess Dave, then you've kind of got all the edu influencers.
Well, I'm gonna ruin your 15 seconds because we love Sarah. We talk about her all the time on this podcast for some reason. Like, she's just amazing.
True. She's just a good human.
She is, and that's that's the same thing we always say every time. And then of course we love Dave because I'm not sure if you know, but we're about to be book publishing mates or friends or whatever you want to call it here soon. Our book's coming out soon. It's called Teach Better, and it's coming out soon. By the time
Awesome.
this podcast goes, we'll probably have an actual release date, but right now we don't have an exact release date, so I'm going to leave it at that. We did just get the first cover design back, so we're super excited.
Awesome.
And we got to meet Drew at Summer Spark just a couple weeks ago, and he's awesome. He's coming out to our conference in November, so we're super stoked about that.
Yeah,
So-
he's like full of energy and ideas.
Yes, good three. I love it. All right, so I got us off track, so that doesn't count against your time. Give us the best YouTube channel or website for educators.
I'm all about AR/VR right now, and Steve Bambury just released a gem of a YouTube channel. So go check out Steve Bambury.
Give us a daily, weekly, or monthly routine every teacher should get into.
Blogging, period.
Love
Failure,
it.
successes, share it all.
And give us the best piece of advice you've ever received.
Surround yourself with dreamers.
I like that one.
Amanda, you have just killed this podcast recording. Thank goodness we tricked you into coming on Teach Better Talk. I can only imagine the people that are having the reaction I'm having, wanting to just sit back and soak this all in. And I feel like I won't be able to sleep tonight because I'll just have the ideas rolling through my brain at how I'm going to start incorporating all these pieces. Would you mind sharing how our listeners can stay connected with you and keep learning with you?
Absolutely. So on Twitter, I am at Amanda Fox STEM. There's also at zip_the_zombie, ZOMBE. So you can get his daily nuggets. Teachinglandthebook.com for our website and blog, or steampunksedu.com if you're curious about the after school programs that we do. And I'm Amanda Fox Flipped. Once upon a time, I was a history teacher. So if you're teaching government, or there's like 30 videos that are all flipped history videos just there for your taking. And then my book, Zombie, a Design Thinker, and then Teaching Land, which I co-authored with Mary Ellen Weeks. And she's at Miss Emmy Weeks on Twitter as well. So make sure you hit her up.
Loving it. And you can find all the links and resources we've mentioned in the episode over at teachbetter.com, as well as really important links for connecting with Amanda and keeping the conversation going, as well as getting to that YouTube channel to hang out with Zip and to check out both of her books as well. So make sure you head over to the show notes over at teachbetter.com for all of that. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And if you can give us a rating and review, we truly appreciate that. And let's take it one step further. Think of just 3 of your colleagues. Share this podcast with them because we want to continue sharing these stories out as well. Amanda, this has been an awesome episode. Super excited for all the things that you've got going on, the success you've had, and all the success you have coming your way. We're really happy to have you on. Super pumped. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation, but just thank you.
I'm just standing on the shoulders of giants before me. Seriously.
Well, thank you. We appreciate all of that. And until next time, let's get out there. Let's teach better.